What's going on, everyone? So I think that the Spurs acquisition of Harrison Barnes was a great move. I think that they are doing all the things right this offseason thus far. Bringing in Chris Paul, I think, was one of the, if not the best moves that they could have done. You get a veteran adult in the room, a guy that can be a mentor and help develop Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell. Right now, you got these guys that can learn from one of the best guards to ever play the game. Also, look at like guys like SGA. SGA speaks so highly of Chris Paul and what Chris Paul did for his game. I just love how Chris Paul can really kind of break things down and kind of help these guys see things that they might not see otherwise, kind of expedite their growth. And then even guys, I think even like a Trey Jones is going to be really benefit from adding Chris Paul. And then bringing in a Harrison Barnes is another adult vet that has championship pedigree, that understands what it takes to win, as he won a championship with the Golden State Warriors and was a big piece in that regard. You get now a legit 3-and-D guy. Is he the guy he was with the Warriors? Not with the Kings, but he still was very good. I also think a lot of people are really missing the point with Harrison Barnes. I see a lot of people that are like, oh, Harrison Barnes, he's not this, he's not that. It's not about the Spurs winning a championship this year. No one thinks that the Spurs are going to win a championship this year. The Spurs don't even think they're winning a championship this year. It's not about that. It's about growing, developing, and laying the foundation for your young core so that way you can win championships and be that dynasty again in a few years. Right? The idea is to have this nice balance of the right vets that can come in. And it's not just about getting a vet. It's about getting vets that understand the role, that are willing to play and embrace the role, as well as be mentors for the team. And bringing in Harrison Barnes, they get that. They get a guy that has the understanding, that knows what is expected from him. He's not going to take away from Vassell. He's not going to take away from Castle. He's not going to take away from Victor Wembanyama. Yes, you could go get somebody and maybe he's better and the Spurs are better, but it's not about that. It's about the growth, development, and the process, right, with this young team. Just wanted to clarify that because I see a lot of people that are like, oh, Spurs aren't winning with Harrison Barnes. Like, it's not about winning. It's about laying the foundation going forward. Harrison Barnes is a great player in acquisition that will help now on and off the court. And on top of that, he's going to be a guy that you have for this year and next year, but he also will be a $19 million expiring contract next year, which you could use to potentially facilitate a trade for maybe a more win now piece. This is just good for the Spurs all around. But now that they have Harrison Barnes, you have Chris Paul, there is this question of, do they just kind of stand pat, maybe get another like vet guy or two, or, kind of maybe make a small minor trade? There's a lot of like, what are they going to do with Keldon Johnson, right? There's a lot of questions on what's next. What's the next move? And again, the Spurs, I think, have done everything perfectly. But Lauri Markkanen has been a target for the Spurs. He's been a name heavily linked to the Spurs. And there is this question of, should the Spurs still go after Lauri Markkanen? Now, to me, I don't hate the idea of them going after Lauri Markkanen, but to me, is he the right piece for the Spurs? Now, Lauri Markkanen, in concept, makes a ton of sense. Again, he's a guy that's not going to take away from Victor, from Vassell, from Stephon Castle, right? He's a guy that he doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective and be a threat. He's also got he's 7 feet, can't teach that, right? Shoot the lights out, go get you 20 plus on every given night. He's a guy that would be a huge impact guy. And I do really like the idea of, having a Victor at the 5 and then a Lauri at the 4 and then, even Harrison Barnes at the 3, right? Like, you could have a starting 5 where maybe you're bringing Castle off the bench for his first year to kind of let him ease into the season. And then you have a starting 5 of, say, Chris Paul, Vassell, Barnes, Markkanen, and Victor. I think that's tough. I think that'd be a very good team. I think that'd be very good offensively. I think you would be, I think you have a real shot at being a top 5-6 team in the West, right? Health and things like that will be a big factor. Also, how much of a leap can Victor play? Right? I've seen people throw out that like, oh, if they get Lauri Markkanen, then they can win a championship. I don't really buy that personally. If Victor Wembanyama, which look, Victor was arguably a top 15 player last year, best defensive player in the league in my opinion already. I think he should have won Rookie of the Year. Not Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care if he's a rookie or not. Give it to the best defensive player. He was the best defensive player, right? So, but it's neither here nor there, right? So to me, it's like if Victor can take that leap into like he is clearly a top 5 player in the league, like there's no question, there's not even an argument. He's like one of the 3 to 5 best players in the league. Then maybe, right? But I'd still have concerns about like the defense. I'd have like the overall depth, the youth. I would still kind of reserve like, hey, I don't know if they'd actually be a true contender. But, hey, look, you get the right matchups. All of a sudden you look up, you're in the conference finals, and then, get a couple things go your way, you're in the NBA finals. It wouldn't be crazy, right? I mean, Atlanta was in the conference finals a few years ago, and they were terrible ever since, right? So, again, getting Lauri Markkanen, I like the idea of him being that piece that you can kind of plug in, play, won't take away from anybody else. However, my concerns with Lauri Markkanen is, one, you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay him a lot. And is he the right guy going forward to really raise the ceiling of the Spurs? Lauri Markkanen is not your number 1 option. I don't even think he's your number 2 option if you're really trying to be a perennial contender. I think he is your 3rd option and a great 3rd option, which would mean that you're really banking on not only Victor taking another leap, but Vassell or Castle really taking another leap. However, there is the other side of this, which is, and you've seen this kind of the last few years, where maybe you are just so good by committee and your 1 star is just so transcending that you can win. So, for example, look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis was the best player in the world at that time. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, they're not number 2 options. They're both, probably 3rd options. But those 2 combined with the greatness of Giannis, along with the other pieces that just fit in perfectly, were able to win a championship, right? Giannis, had to drop 50 and stuff. He had to be great. But you saw that, like, okay, one guy that is that good alongside 2 guys that are really good, and then a bunch of good quality rotation pieces can win you a championship. So maybe the Spurs could look at it like that. Again, another example would be, like Denver, right? Jokic is so transcendently good. Jamal Murray is really good. But for years, there was this question of, can he be the 2nd guy? He's never been an all-star, this, that, and the other. And again, I don't think Jamal Murray is a superstar. I don't think he's a top 20 player in the league or anything like that. But I do think he is very good, right? But Jokic is so transcendent, he is so gifted that him plus that legit all-star level guy, along with some high-end rotation role players, you can win a championship. So the Spurs, if Victor can be, which I do believe he will be at some point, right? I do believe he will be that good to where it's like, okay, him with just like another all-star level guy and quality role guys can win you a championship. But if you're talking about right now or in the next few years, right, it's probably going to take him another 2-3 years. Now, who knows, right? I just don't want to put the cart before the horse or have these insane expectations, right? He's still incredibly young. He's still going to need some time. Even Jokic and Giannis and Embiid and all these guys took a few years to get there, right? Like, as great as they are, it took time. Victor was so great and so special out the gate. It might not take him 4, 5, 6 years to do so, but it's still probably going to take him till year 3 to really elevate to that level where it's like, okay, this guy is a top 3 player in the league, hands down. Right? Could he maybe get to the argument next year? Sure. But I'm talking about clear cut, like you can't name 3 guys better than him. Right? That's probably going to take a year or 2. I think Victor will be the best player on both sides of the basketball in the next 2-3 years at worst. And so with that, it's like you could potentially, like if Castle becomes good, I'm not even talking about great or anything like that, but if he becomes like a legit, like, okay, this guy's a good 2-way guy, and then you get Vassell continuing to grow and develop, and he can be a legit, say, can he get to like 23 a game? You add a Lauri Markkanen, you go get that other piece, and now it's like, okay, now you're good enough to win a championship. Maybe have, some 2 or 3 guys off the bench that come in, provide some quality minutes. Now I think you can win a championship. But I think personally the Spurs should just either stay where they are or, again, go get 1 or 2 kind of like middle ground pieces or like vet guys, bring them in, kind of run the year, right? Even if you miss the playoffs or something like that, who cares? Right? It's just about developing your core foundation, and I think the Spurs will be in good shape. But those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Should the Spurs still go target and go after Lauri Markkanen? Do you think no, stay away from Lauri Markkanen? No, he's great, but he's not worth the money that he's going to get. He's not the right option as like kind of your number 2 guy right now. Because again, you got to keep in mind, he would right now be your number 2 guy. Is he the right guy in that regard? But anyway, again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.